What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Wild Talk Podcast. I am your host, Wild Bill TV, joined by my lovely co-host, ZooTube94. Zoo, how you doing today? You are muted, brother. I think.
I'm doing great,
There
bud. How
you
about
go.
you?
I am doing great. Thank you very much for asking.
Good.
Yeah, we have another good show today, as I always say. So
Yes, sir.
I just want to real quick get into this. So you're in Florida, for those who don't know, and there's a
Yes, sir.
hurricane that has now decided to come your way, right?
Yep, Hurricane Ida.
Ida. Okay. How are things right now for you?
I haven't checked on it since this morning.
Okay.
So last night it was supposed to be heading up
Okay.
through the Gulf of Mexico, but now it's going like straight across Florida, so it's going like from my area to Jacksonville straight
Okay.
across. So
So
I might lose power during this. I might not.
well, we hope not. So let's try to get through the
Yeah.
show as quickly as possible, I guess, just in case that does happen. Obviously, we don't want you to lose
Yeah.
power. But okay, so I just wanted to confirm, a lot of people might not have known that you're in Florida, and if you randomly
Yeah.
lose power, that's why, because you're literally in a hurricane. Um,
Yeah.
Okay, well, to start the show off today, I just wanted to make a quick note. So for our last show, it was last Wednesday, which was the 4th, which was the day after the presidential elections here in the United States. Those were on the 3rd. As of our show yesterday or last week, we weren't 100% sure who was going to win yet. Biden was in the lead. Trump had some states that would kind of potentially go his way. But for those who, if you don't know for some reason by now, Joe Biden is the president-elect. He will be the 46th president of the United States. So again, I'm pretty sure everybody knew that, but just congratulations to Joe Biden and his family. I know there's some people who are pretty excited about that, and there are others who are not very excited about it. But yeah, just a congratulations to him and his family.
Yeah.
So-
And happy Veterans Day.
Yeah, that's
everybody,
right. It's
for your
Veterans Day today
service.
too. Yeah. Thank you everyone for your service. So let's get into the actual gaming topics of what we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Yeah, so our first topic, really, it's all about the Xbox Series X and S, and also the PS5. So the Xbox Series X and S, because there's two different ones, they launched yesterday, which was Tuesday, November 10th, and then the
Yep.
PS5 is going to be launching tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 12th. And
We're in the median.
right in the meeting, right? And there's two different PS5s and there's two different Xboxes, and we're gonna break those down in today's show and kind of talk about them. I'm sure a lot of people know, but for those who don't know the differences between them, we're gonna touch base on them and kind of talk about the different consoles. So let's start with the first one, the Xbox, since it's already released. So we'll talk about the Series
Fridge.
X and the S, the fridge. That's right. So what do you have anything to talk about the Xbox consoles yet? I have a bunch of stuff I want to say, but I don't want to go off on a tangent without giving you a second to kind of go ahead and say
mean,
something.
I've never really been a huge Xbox fan.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a big fan of their exclusives, like Halo. Like, I always
Mhm.
wanted to, but like, the only fun part is like the multiplayer, just playing with friends. But that's about it.
Yeah.
So
I've
never really been into it that much.
I used to be very, very big into Halo back like whenever the original Xbox came out. Super big into like the first Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3. Like that was literally like my childhood, like, middle school, high school. Like that's what my friends and I did. We would sit and grind in a ridiculous amount of hours on Halo. Like Halo 1, 2, 3. I mean, I didn't really 4 was okay. Which I think that was on the Xbox One, but regardless. So yeah.
Mm.
The thing that really got me away from Halo, actually, was Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Whenever that first released, like I think in 2007 or something. I don't even know when it was. I can't remember. I think we did talk about it on one of our previous shows.
I think it was like 2009.
Was it? I
think
can't
Black
remember when
Ops came
exactly.
out in 2010.
Okay, so that was like really what kind of pulled me away from Halo when I saw that there was like not like these futuristic things. And it's just a modern warfare is literally what it was called. So.
Yeah.
That's what kind of, pulled me away from Halo. But we're getting off track here. I'm getting off track. I feel like I always do this to us. I derail our conversations
Yeah, it's all good.
all the time. Okay, so you're not very big into the Xbox consoles. You really never have been. So have you been more of a Sony guy, or what has been your preference, growing up
Yeah,
and still to
I
this day?
started out with the PlayStation 2, then went to PSP, then PS3, PS Vita, now PS4.
Okay.
I'm really excited for the PS5.
And have you
So I'm
pre-ordered
very
the?
biased.
Yeah. Have you pre-ordered the PS5 yet?
Nope.
No. Are you
Can't
just
find it anywhere.
okay? So are you going to try to hope to buy one tomorrow, or are you going to wait?
That's the thing. Sony already confirmed that they're not going to be having any available consoles in stores for sale. If you pre-ordered one,
okay.
that's the only way you're getting one.
That is.
But I did hear that some stores have available consoles that you can buy, and then you can go into the store.
Okay.
So maybe I can check, but I don't think so.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., you're just going to be calling frantically everywhere.
Maybe after this.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back into the Xbox. That's the consoles we want to talk about first. So, like I said earlier, there is the Series X and the Series S. The Series X is the fridge is what everybody calls it because of the big square rectangular shape, and it stands upright. This is Microsoft's flagship console. It offers the true 4K gaming experience. It comes with a Blu-ray disc drive, which is important because the Xbox Series S does not. It is a discless console. You are able to do 8K high dynamic range while watching movies and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I think PS5 is also offering the 8K as well. So that's kind of where we're moving into. But the other nice thing about the Series X is you can also live stream and record clips in 4K 60 FPS. Which is pretty nice for a console. That's pretty huge, especially for content creators who are using, primarily consoles for their content creation and not using PC like, a lot of us are. That's pretty big for them. So I think that's all pretty cool.
I believe PS4, my current one, which is the first generation, I think it only caps out at 720.
720? Okay.
So
I was going to say
1080 it's pretty good with 60 FPS.
Yeah, with 60 FPS. Like clips and everything are going to look very, very smooth, very nice. So I think that's pretty amazing in terms of, what the content creators are going to be able to do with it because, I mean, there are a ton of content creators who like Call of Duty pros, Call of Duty like streamers who play on console primarily. They don't play on PC. So it's going to be nice for them to, kind of have that. Now, I want to talk about the specs of the fridge, right? How big it is. So it's 6 inches wide, 5.9 inches wide, so almost 6 inches wide, and then it's 11.85 inches tall, so it's almost a foot tall because a foot is 12 inches, right? So it's almost a foot tall, which I think is pretty sizable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, obviously if you're comparing it to like a PC case and stuff, right? Like my PC case is clearly bigger than 12 inches height-wise, right? Mm-hmm. But for a console, that seems pretty large.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, because consoles, they haven't really been like too big. Maybe like the original Xbox.
Yeah.
That was pretty hefty, wasn't it?
It was pretty hefty, but even then, now this laid flat, the fridge stands upright, but even then, that console just laid flat. So it was more of like a depth thing, but I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think it would have been 12 inches, a foot back. That just seems pretty large. It seems like they're making these consoles, at least for the Series X, to be kind of more like PCs. Even the PlayStation 5 is meant to stand up, not lay down. I know before you would get consoles that were, you can stand them or lay them down. These new ones seem like they are meant to be stood up.
Well, you can lay the PS5 one down.
Oh, can you? Okay, I don't... Yeah. Literally haven't played a console like forever. And you might be able to lay the Series X down. I don't know. Every promotional picture I've seen, everything I've seen online, like because people were getting them today or yesterday, they've been upright. So I just assumed with this new upright design, that's what they were trying to go for. But one thing I will touch base on real quick about the Series X, Microsoft is running into some problems. Have you been seeing anything that's going on over Twitter right now? It got picked up by Barstool. I don't know if people know what Barstool Sports is.
Is it the smoking Xboxes?
They are smoking. They are catching fire or something, and they are producing smoke that is billowing out of the top of it. Oh. And it's not just a few people. There have been a decent amount of people who have been posting on Twitter, reporting it to someone like the bigger media people like Barstool and stuff, and they are retweeting those and compiling them all together. So Microsoft is having slight issues with the Xbox Series X. Now, I don't want to say this to scare anybody away. This is going to sound dumb, but there are always going to be like issues with new release consoles, right? Like it's the first gen. They think they got everything worked out, and it probably shouldn't be catching on fire. But
Yeah, no.
unfortunately, like just things like this kind of happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and I seriously doubt it, but hopefully it's a software thing that they can patch. Maybe like something isn't cooling properly. Like maybe it's like just something misconfigured. But it really sounds like it's
Hopefully.
going to be hardware.
Because it's going to be a pain to get, like, because if it's like for every single console
Yeah.
and some of them just hasn't happened yet, then
Yeah.
you got to ship all those back and then make brand new ones, or at least fix them.
Yep.
And you have to send them all back, so that could take months.
That could take forever. So these people who have pre-ordered and waited for months to get their console, get it day one, it catches fire day one, and then all of a sudden they got to send it back. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying hopefully it's a software related thing where just something's not cooling properly or it's like not coded properly, because if it's hardware related and it's going to happen to a majority of them, this is going to look terrible for Microsoft, and it's just going to be all around a bad thing for Xbox, because we're going to get into it a little bit earlier, but the PlayStation has always really outsold Microsoft, right? Like I don't think Xbox or not Microsoft, Xbox. I don't think Xbox is ever going to go anywhere. They're still the top number. They're still number 2. Like, you know, they're still a crazy good, you know, console system that millions and millions upon millions of people play. But this will be terrible if it is, you know, a defect that might affect all of them. But this is only a day in. We need to see more reports. We need to see what's going on. I'm sure Microsoft is going to address it eventually. As of right now, they haven't, or at least before I started the show, I looked and I didn't see anything. So I don't know if they've addressed it since then. But yeah, catching on fire.
I honestly thought it was a meme. Like I saw people posting those in the PlayStation tweets.
Yeah,
and I thought like people just put vape into it.
Yeah,
just smoke and be like, oh, my Xbox is smoking. But I didn't know it was a real thing. That's crazy.
I know. I thought it was fake too until I saw, like, again, it could be more fake, but there was like a lot of people being like, yeah, mine's doing it too. So I don't know. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but that console, the one that catches fire, the Series X will be, or is, $499. It's $500. So that's, like I said, their flagship console. That's the one that, you know, is their top tier one. It does everything that you can want that we mentioned, the 8K resolution, the true 4K gaming. But they have their cost friendly one, the Xbox Series S, which is their more affordable option at $299, so $300. So it's a $200 price difference. Now this is the one that is discless, meaning that you cannot put a physical game disc in this console. It is only digital purchases, which PlayStation 5 is also doing the same thing. We'll get to that here in a second. Yeah. But with the Series S, it does offer some things that aren't terrible for a $300 console, right? It only does 1440p gaming, which is 2K, so not 4K, which might not be a big deal to some people. There are really cheap 4K TVs that you can purchase nowadays, so I feel like everybody's going to have 4K already. But the 1440p, so the 2K to 4K, might not be a big deal to some people. The Series S, though, is capable of doing that 8K viewing when watching videos, as long as you use an ultra high speed HDMI cable, which comes with the Series X. It does not come with the Series S. So you can purchase it and still get the same viewing experience as well for $200 cheaper. Really, most of the differences that I found were between the X and the S were the 2K gaming, so the 1440p, and then it's discless. Besides that, there weren't many differences in terms of performance. I mean, they still both claim to get 120 FPS. I don't know how they can claim that. Like, they say that all games are going to... I don't know. It does... No, 120 hertz refresh rate. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with FPS. I'm just going off the rails completely. And
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, every single game, 120 FPS. No. So, performance-wise, it doesn't seem terrible if you're okay with doing the 1440p. Also, $200 cheaper, might be a lot for families and stuff. If they want to, like, you know, if they have a bunch of kids and they want to buy a bunch of different things for Christmas and they want to get one nice gift, maybe they go for the $300 option opposed to the $500 option. I don't know.
10-year-olds don't care about
exactly. You're not gonna
every single
pour
on somebody's face.
The 10-year-olds who are playing Minecraft, and that is no way in any shape a dig at Minecraft, okay? Because Minecraft is a great game. I love Minecraft. But they don't care if they're playing on a $500 Xbox Series X that does 4K gaming or their Xbox Series S that does 1440p gaming.
You know what they do care about, though?
What do they care about?
That ray tracing.
That ray tracing.
They do.
Yeah, they do care about that ray tracing. Baby. Yeah. So yeah,
My diamonds is sparkle.
so those are kind of the real. Oh, and let's do the comparisons between the sizes, since I gave you the sizes for the Series
Yeah.
X. So the Series X is 6 inches wide. The Series S is only 2.5 inches wide, and then the Series X, the bigger one, the fridge, is obviously 11.85. That's the 12 inches almost. This one is 10.8 inches, so not much shorter. It is smaller, but not by much. Only about an inch, to be honest. So pretty tall, pretty big consoles. But
It's wild.
I can't imagine, and I guess it is this, but you go from 6 inches wide to only 2.5 inches wide. Is that the length of a CD-ROM drive? Like because one's diskless, one's not. That's the only difference, is putting the drive in there. Is that the length of a CD? I guess I don't know. I would probably have to like measure one to see if that's how big a drive is. But that's pretty crazy that they can fit all of like the components into a much smaller diskless drive, because between the PS5s, their dimensions are identical. The only thing that is different is there is the, what are they calling it? They're calling it the bulge, which is on the side, which is where the disk drive is. Besides that, the PS5s are literally the same exact everything. But anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. So now that we're talking about it, on to the PS5. So this is the console, again, like we said, launches tomorrow. There are going to be two options: the PS5 Digital Edition, which is obviously diskless, only digital games, and then the standard PS5. The prices for those are going to be $399 and $499.99. So slightly different from the Xbox. The two flagship consoles are both $500, but the cheaper Series S is $300. The cheaper PS5 one is $400, so $100 difference. Before I go into my rant again about everything that these do you have anything you want to say about them? Because again, I feel like I've been talking a whole lot right now.
I think like the biggest thing for me between the two consoles, between Xbox and Sony, is that it just looks so much better, the PS5.
Okay.
Like I can like display that and somebody be like, "Whoa, what's that?" Like I don't even have to play it. It just looks dope.
I think it looks dope, and I'm going to just play devil's advocate and go against what you said, and typically just for this reason, I think the PS5 looks it does look dope. It looks gamerish. Like, it looks like a gaming console, and I know that sounds stupid, because clearly it is a gaming console.
Yeah.
But the Xbox Series X, not really the Series S, I don't like the big speaker fan thing, whatever that is on the top, but the Series
grilling
X
feature.
Yeah, the Series X, the big fridge, looks more sleek in my opinion. It's all one color, it's all flat, it just looks more minimalistic, and I'm more of a minimalistic kind of person. So
Gotcha.
I think if you were to like place the Xbox Series X in your living room and it would be sitting next to something, it would just look maybe like, I mean, it just blends in. It just blends in. The PS5 is going to stand out like, yo, that's a console. Like that.
Yeah.
And again, there's nothing
making a statement.
There's nothing wrong with that by any means at all. Just my own 2 cents, where I personally would prefer like a minimalistic look. Over like the whole and this is gonna sound like I'm a hypocrite. I know you guys can't see my setup right now, but like how every gamer has to have RGB everything. Literally, my keyboard is RGB, my mouse is RGB, and I have RGB RAM, my lights, I got everything going on in the case. So I know that sounds very hypocritical, but like I am typically the minimalistic type where I don't want it to look gamerish. But again, I know it comes off being very hypocritical considering my setup. But anyway, let's get into the PS5s. So we already talked about the price difference. Now this is where Sony has a one-up on Microsoft, in my opinion. Besides the disc tray, so one has it, one doesn't. They are the exact same in terms of specs. Same CPU, same GPU, same everything. So you can get a what the standard PS5 is, that great performance that you're getting with a Series X at $500 for $400. So for $100 cheaper, you get everything that the standard PS5 with a disc tray does, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it was huge for me because there were rumors that there was going to be a digital and a physical one.
Yeah.
And then when it said it was $100 less, I was like, really? I was expecting like maybe $50 off, but it's a whole $100.
Yeah. I kind of wish. So I go back and forth, and I was thinking about this before the episode started. I kind of wish that Microsoft would have done the same thing and just kind of made the same consoles, one discless, one not. But then I kind of like Microsoft's approach as well. They bring out a console that's $100 cheaper than Sony's, just to try to get their market reach a little further, right? We talked about the 10-year-olds who they don't care if they're in 4K or 2K, right? Like, so why are you going to spend $400 or $500 on a PS5 when you could spend $300, which in the grand scheme of things, I know it's only $100, but that adds up at the end. You got to buy games still, you got to buy accessories. That adds up. So I kind of like Microsoft's approach because it feels like they're trying to do it to maybe branch themselves out more and reach more customers. But I really like that Sony was able to do just $100 difference. And is that how much a disc tray costs? $100 to console makers? Because nobody puts disc trays in their computers anymore. But I remember building my first PC. You could have bought just a regular DVD, Blu-ray, writer, burner for like $30. So I'm not sure where they came up with the $100 price tag. Maybe there's something more that I don't know. But yeah, not bad for Sony to be able to do the same exact specs between both, just one minus a disc tray.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. Zoo, do you want to talk about the sales numbers of previous gen consoles?
Oh, yeah. So, there's a big problem with Xbox because they've never been able to get over 100 million sales.
I saw that.
It's wild because they've been around for a long time. You'd think they would have gotten over that, but they still haven't.
Okay.
Sony has always overcome them. So
that is surprising.
Yeah. So the Xbox, the original one, got 24 million sales.
Okay.
The PS2 got 155 million sales.
Mm-hmm.
The 360 got 84 million.
Okay.
PS3 87. Xbox One 52 million.
Yeah.
And then PS4 112 million.
Wow. That is a massive difference between. So the Xbox One and the PS4 were clearly like competitors that were, going straight against each other, right? I mean, they've always been competitors, but like those were like, the best gen consoles, and Xbox only did 52 million.
52 million. That was so surprising to me to go from 84 million with the Xbox 360 and then 55?
Yeah, they dropped heavy with that too. 30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's oddly surprising to me. I wouldn't have guessed that it would have been that different in terms of sale numbers, right?
Yeah.
One, I wouldn't have expected them to drop 30 million units from the 360 to the Xbox One. I did remember people complaining a lot about the exclusives that were there for Xbox One, so maybe people just felt it was more I don't know, just better to go with, the PlayStation 4 because of their exclusives. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why there was such a huge gap, but I think it is because of the exclusives. Because PS4 had a ton of great exclusives. God of War.
Yep.
Infamous Second Son. Uncharted was really big for the PS4.
Yeah.
Just like so many things that just sold it to everybody.
Yeah, that's very true.
We'll have to see what happens with the Xbox One.
Yeah, so the reason we're talking
Xbox Series S.
I knew what you meant. So the reason we're talking about the previous sales consoles, right? Because there aren't numbers released right now for the new ones, obviously. Right? Obviously Sony's the PlayStation hasn't even come out yet, and Xbox's has just launched yesterday. So that's why we're kind of giving an update and a rundown between the old consoles. I am curious to see what's going to happen with these new ones as well. I do want to talk about our predictions here in a little bit, but speaking of exclusives, there really aren't any exclusives with Microsoft and Xbox Series X or S right now. And
it could just happen like the Xbox One and the PS4.
Which
could just happen the exact same way.
Yeah, which would suck for Sony or for Microsoft, right? Because I know. So there was supposed to be an exclusive coming with Xbox Series X and S. Supposed to be Halo Infinite. Again, if you're a Halo fan, that's like it was the next biggest, series or game in that series. And unfortunately, 343 Industries is the people who are the developers. They said the delay was related to the ongoing challenges with COVID. So COVID, I guess they were hoping to finish everything. You know, we started this whole working from home lockdown in March. So I guess they just kind of got hit with it and they weren't expecting it and weren't able to put out the same production as if they were in the office. So that does suck for Microsoft, because if their whole plan was to roll out this new console and to roll out their new Halo Infinite series with it, that's a big blow to them, because as we just saw from the numbers from their previous gen consoles, they didn't have any exclusives, and it reflects. And I don't know if that's going to reflect with this one, as well as them catching on fire. That doesn't help. But I don't know how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I don't think they... I tried looking, and I couldn't find a single exclusive that's on launch. Nothing.
There aren't. I looked. So the ones that are available at launch, none of them are next-gen games. They are... I have a few written down that are kind of like bigger names. They're Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is out for both. Cyberpunk, obviously, which is coming out next week, by the way. Or no, not next week. Supposed to be next week. I'm sorry, I got too ahead of myself. Supposed to be
10th.
next week, but now it's December 10th. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legions, the new Call of Duty, the Black Ops Cold War game. So nothing that is a actual next gen exclusive or anything. It's all just, you know, current gen games, and none of those are even exclusives. Those are across platform between literally PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So no exclusives at all for the Xbox Series X or S.
But on the glory side.
As of right now. But on the glory side, the PS5 side, I'll let you talk about these, because I know you got a ton you want to talk about, brother.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead. Go ahead. Run with it.
Let's pop it off. Probably the most anticipated exclusive, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yep.
Oh, what a great one. And then we got Demon Souls Remake, which is... I've never played the original, but I'm super excited. I love From Software,
yep,
which is the company that did Dark Souls.
Yes.
Their first Dark Souls edition. And then we got Sackboy, A Big Adventure. I love Sackboy. I played it on PS Vita, the first and
So I had a question about Sackboy, because I was looking up the exclusives, and is Sackboy... Is that like a remake? It looks like another game, and I can't remember the name, like the stitching of the character. The Sackboy, I guess is his name. I don't know, which is a weird name.
Yeah.
Was he in another game or something else on PS4? Like, he looks familiar, but the name Sackboy doesn't ring a bell to me at all. And I don't mean to just throw like a random question at you, but the character himself looked familiar, but I never played PS4 games or exclusives, so I don't know.
You might be thinking of the... They had a Sackboy game on PS4.
Did they?
But it had I think it was like Sackboy and Friends, so it's a lot of people that kind of look like him.
Okay.
That's what you might be thinking
Maybe.
about.
I just remember seeing commercials for it, like, back when the PS4 was coming out, and I was like, oh, that looks like interesting, because it looks like a crocheted, or like, you know, I don't know, like, he looks like knitted, the character, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I remember seeing that, you know, when they were advertising it how many years ago, and I thought it looked interesting. I didn't know his name was Sackboy.
Yeah, it's a fun little puzzle game. It's like kiddish, but it's also like for adults too.
I think
it's really good.
It might have been Little Big Planet, and I just looked over at chat real quick, and someone said Little Big Planet, and that's what it, yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah.
I'm so.
Thank you, Twisted. And typically we don't read chat through this, but it like literally caught my eye, and I was like, that sounds familiar. So I just wanted to kind of interject and say that's what I was thinking of when I saw this Sackboy guy.
Yeah.
So okay, go ahead. Continue on with your exclusives. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, no problem. So then we have Astro Playroom, which was Astro is like a character that was introduced with the PS4 camera, but it wasn't really ever like used because nobody wanted to buy the camera. But now it's like a showcase for PS5. It's like it's already preloaded to the console when you get it, and it just shows off like everything that the controller can do and all the new features that the PS5 can do.
Okay,
I'm kind of excited for it.
So
really
there's no camera or anything with this one, right? I feel like Microsoft and Sony both have kind of gotten away from their camera variants, right? Like, because Xbox had the Kinect, and then I don't even know what Sony's camera was called. It might have just been called the PlayStation camera. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I feel like they kind of both. I think that tech kind of came out ahead of its time, and game developers weren't able to really kind of like prioritize and use it the correct way. At least maybe not for
Yeah.
like a consumer, use. And it kind of just died down. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I feel
Now
like
I don't. You go ahead.
no, like I was saying, I just feel like they did the camera thing and they don't want to do it anymore. So I was just checking to see if they're gonna have one with this new PS5, but I don't think so.
Well, I'm not sure if it's required for the PlayStation VR headset. I know
The
they're trying
camera?
to push that. Yes.
It is required because I do have
Okay.
a PSVR that a friend gave
Really?
to me. Yeah, a very nice
Okay.
friend just gave it to me. He didn't want it anymore, and he was like, "You can have it." And he gave me everything that came with it. I'm assuming the camera came with it. I don't know if he bought it separate.
You've never streamed it?
No, I played it
Oh.
once. I played it once, and I just got like super sick, like motion sickness.
Oh,
I was like, I can't do
yeah.
this. It was cool for like 20 minutes, but then yeah, like it didn't. No, so yeah, I have it, but it didn't work out in my favor. But yeah,
Dang.
yeah, really cool concept. But there is a camera that comes with it, but I just assumed that was a part of the VR. I don't know if he had that separately or
Mhm.
what. I have no idea.
But yeah. Then we can have like one exclusive left.
Yeah.
I believe it was supposed to be PS5 exclusive. Like
Okay.
it wasn't supposed to go anywhere else. But now it's on Epic, on the Epic Game Store.
What game?
Godfall.
Godfall. I don't even think
Yeah.
I don't even think I saw that when I was doing my research.
It's like do you know Warframe?
Yes.
It's like a gaudy version of that.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Interesting.
just very like mythical and just big. I don't
So
know.
it's on Epic. It was
weird.
supposed to be a Sony exclusive, and now it's on Epic as well. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And it actually brings me to a point that I meant to talk about with Microsoft. And when we were talking about exclusives for the Xbox, I wanted to say one thing
Oh,
that I
yeah.
had written down here, that there really are not going to be exclusives for the Xbox, at least not from their first party studios or their first party developers. Those are the people that work directly with Microsoft, that they put out, like Microsoft helps like publish this game as well, right? Those are the first party developers. Microsoft is trying to push all of their games to Xbox and PC. So if a game is coming to the Xbox Series X or S and it's made by one of the first party studios or first party developers, it will also be available on PC. So
Mhm.
there really aren't going to be many Xbox exclusives unless a third party developer who makes games for Microsoft just doesn't want to make it for PC or PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
So, which I
don't
thought that was
think
pretty interesting.
They do that because they got the Xbox Game Pass and they're really trying to push that.
Right.
So I think everything that their publishers do
Mhm.
or their game devs will do, they're gonna push it on that no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're gonna ever really see an exclusive Xbox title, but
I don't know. And I mean, I personally like it. I hate when there are exclusives tied to one console. Like I had to purchase a PS4 to play The Last of Us. So I had to buy a $300 console cuz PS4, at least back when I bought it like 3 years ago, never goes on sale. Or at least it didn't. So I had to buy this thing at $300. Then I had to buy the game, which was discounted. I got it on sale because it was like super old at the point. Like it was, I think I got it for like $15. Not a big deal. But to play this one
Yeah.
game, I had to spend $315, which is a little ridiculous. I don't like when there are exclusives like that. It has paid off for me because I did get to play The Last of Us 2, which I didn't wish I played because it was terrible. But I did get to play that, so my $300 stretched out into another game, but I had to pay $60 for that. So I literally have this $385 console to play 2 games. So I don't like the exclusives. I do like where
Yeah.
Microsoft is allowing people who have PC where we can go ahead and play the games as well. And it gives them a broader reach. Not everybody owns an Xbox, right? But if you get
Yeah.
the Game Pass for, what did we say, $10 on our last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago? It's $10 a
15,
month.
I believe, ain't it?
Ultimate is $15.
Okay, gotcha.
You can get the regular one for PC for $5 or $10, and then you can just play all the Xbox exclusives. I'm doing air quotations for those who are going to be listening to this. Exclusives. So
yeah, I meant to bring that up. I'd prefer it as like a Microsoft exclusive, since
Yeah.
it's going on the Microsoft Store on
Mhm.
PC and on Xbox.
Yeah,
So I think
maybe
that's
they
like a
go
proper term now.
to calling it that. And I don't know if they're calling it Microsoft exclusives, but that is a
I
definitely.
haven't heard of it.
I mean, that's definitely a way better way to put it, and definitely the proper way to say it, because that's clearly
Yeah.
what it is. It's going to be in the Microsoft ecosystem between PC and console, so it's definitely a Microsoft exclusive.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting that there was like not a lot of exclusives, even though Xbox bought so many companies
Yeah.
to make games for them.
I mean, biggest
And
one.
there's yeah,
They
it's
bought
Bethesda.
Bethesda. Yeah, that's the biggest one. Now
that was just recent.
I was gonna say that
so
was
they're not
way
gonna
too
have
recent for
anything.
there to have anything, become an exclusive. But going forward, I'd like to see how that plays out. Are there going to be any Microsoft exclusives?
Yeah.
So
But I can't remember when they announced that they started buying all these studios, but it's just like we haven't seen much about it.
yeah,
And it's interesting that they bring out their new console and there's just like nothing to show for it. So
yeah, that is an issue, and clearly it plagued the Xbox One. We'll see what happens with the Xbox Series X and S. I mean, I know they were, even in my opinion, even if Halo Infinite was out, it's a big exclusive. I mean, Halo's a very
Yeah.
big like it's a very big game. It has a huge fan base. But like for me personally, as someone who played Halo 1, 2, 3, I didn't do 4. I wouldn't have bought, and I'm not clearly going to buy an Xbox Series X or S to play Halo Infinite. So if it were out on release, like for me, someone who was a diehard Halo fan for how many years, over 3 different generations of consoles, I wouldn't have purchased this one for that. So like maybe for some people it doesn't matter that there's not any exclusives. Maybe they're going to get it anyway. Maybe they're not going to get it anyway, regardless if there was an exclusive.
yeah. So I want to talk. Do you have anything else to say about that?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
All right. I want to talk about, because I heard this is like a really big feature of what makes PS5 what it is.
Okay.
The new haptic controller.
Okay.
So
Now haptic
PS5
isn't as in how? Like more than
haptic
just
as in-
vibration, because all controllers have vibration.
Yeah,
Right. So
well,
what does this offer?
PS5 has developed, or Sony has developed a controller that's supposed to feel like really realistic when you're doing something. So like the triggers feel like you're actually doing that. So if
Mm.
you're drawing like a bow back, it's gonna have like resistance.
Oh.
And I heard
Okay.
that have reviewed it have been saying that this is the biggest, like one of the biggest sellers for the PS5.
That's
Like
actually
it's so incredible.
really cool, and
Yeah.
surprising that we haven't had that before.
Yeah,
I would feel that the technology would have been there at least for the Xbox One and PS4. I don't know about previous consoles, but that's surprising we don't have that in any of the other ones. And I don't know anything about it. Does Sony or Microsoft have any plans to do that with their Xbox
no,
controllers?
that's what I wanted to talk about, because they have had the same controller since the Xbox, correct? Like it's just nothing's changed about it, right?
No, it's changed pretty greatly since the first Xbox. If anything, I
Okay.
feel like PlayStation's had the same controller since the very first PlayStation.
Really?
Yes, because so the Xbox controller was very wide. You literally had to have hands like Andre the Giant to hold it. Like as a child, when I was playing the original Xbox, like when I was 11 or 12, like my hands could not like fit around the Xbox controller. It's gotten
Yeah.
smaller, but I would say since like the 360, which was the second Xbox, it's been kind of the same. It's the same basic general shape. But I feel like the PlayStation controller is also the same way. The only real difference that you guys, like we're playing together, is in the PS4 you added the little touchpad thing in the middle, right? The PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3 all were the same way. The joysticks at the bottom, or they're aligned right next to each other. Then you got the PlayStation button in the middle. It's kind of all been the same, right?
Yeah, generally.
Generally, yeah. If it's
But
if it's
yeah.
not broke, don't fix it. You know?
But do you think that Xbox will ever advance their controllers? Because I know they have the Xbox Elite controller.
I was just gonna
But
bring
then
that up. Yeah.
that doesn't come with the Xbox itself. You have to pay like, what is it, like 120 or something? For
It's
it?
something ridiculous for a controller, and
Yeah.
I thought it was 110. It might be 120. I honestly don't know.
I
It's
can't
probably
remember.
120. Let's go with the more expensive one, right? Because let's just say it's 120. Yeah, it does not come with the Xbox. You have to buy it separately. when you were talking about the haptic feedback, like within the triggers, I was thinking maybe Microsoft might try to throw that into their next gen Elite controller that they do.
Mhm.
But even still, that's a win for Sony because it's included with the PS5.
Yeah, but a huge drawback to the PS5 controller,
Okay.
or just the controllers, is you can't play a PS4 or a PS5 game with a PS4 controller.
Why? Is it because of the haptic feedback that you need to feel?
Yeah,
Mm.
apparently it's because of the features that the new controller brings. Now I don't know if you can play or no, yeah, no, you can still use the PS5 controller for PS4 games
I would assume so because
and
it's just going to be
and
Bluetooth,
PS4
right?
controllers on the PS5 with PS4 games, but yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Now, I would wonder if a game. I'm assuming all games are going to take advantage of that. The new haptic feedback and stuff.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you? I'm assuming all games would. But I wonder if there was a game that didn't take advantage of it. Would you be able to use one? I would assume not. I'm assuming Sony would just make it.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't. Why can't it pair them together? Like you can't pair this with the PS5. Like it's just not going to work. I don't think they'd go through the hassle of saying, well, this game has it, so you can't do it, but this game doesn't have it, so you can do it. I bet it's just a straight no across the board. That'd be my guess.
This bothered a lot of people, but honestly, as like a Sony fan, I didn't really care about it, honestly.
I don't.
Like
I
I get a
mean,
new controller with it, I'll just use that anyway.
yeah,
I only have like 3 other controllers for the PS4. I don't mind
yeah.
not using them ever again.
Well, say for me personally, like, okay, I live alone, but even if when I was living at home, like, with I have 2 other brothers, right? Like, we never played like co-op games together where we needed multiple controllers, where I would have to worry about my old, controller working with my new console, right? Like, if I had my one controller, like, that was enough that I needed. So again, if you're being given the controller in the packaging, which of course you are, I don't see me personally, I agree with you. I don't see the issue behind it.
Yeah. But
So,
yeah, I was also wondering if like I played Godfall, which is going to be on the PS5, and
Yeah.
if it's going to have haptic feedback features with it, could I plug my PS5 controller into my PC and play Godfall off the Epic Game Store and still have that? Do you think that would be a thing or not?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out, right? I mean, I don't know.
Because I don't know if that's through like the PS5 or it's like through the game company doing that themselves. I'd be interested to see that.
I don't know. I would assume it's through the game, like the developer, but then at the same time, like I could see it being a PS5 thing. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and lean towards the developer side of things, but I'm gonna also leave it with an asterisk that I don't know. I have no idea. I would think the game developer though, but I have no idea.
I'll have to try that out.
Okay, so down to our very last topic, which is what we've introduced last week, is how we're gonna try to end every podcast, which we are calling Questions of the Internet, because we don't exactly know what we want to call it yet, and we're probably just gonna stick with that name. And I just realized you and I didn't discuss what we were going to talk beforehand, so I'm coming up with this off the top of my head right now because I'm looking.
I got scared because
I'm looking at my notes and I realized we don't have anything typed in.
Yeah.
So off the top of my head, the only thing I can think of, and this might be a really dumb question. Our first one was easy. We were apples or bananas, right? Yeah. This one is going to be for me. Are you more of a books guy or a movies guy? Because before I let you answer, you always have that person that says, "Oh, did you see such and such movie? Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, the books are so much better though." So, are you a books guy or a movies guy?
Honestly, I wish I was a books guy, but I'm just like it's hard for me to like stay focused on something.
Yeah.
So I have to be a movie guy because like I'll spend like 5 minutes on one single page and not get anywhere. Just like reading the same thing over again because like I don't get that.
Yeah.
But like movie, it's just like I can just sit back and relax and enjoy it.
And especially, so I'm in agreement with you. I'm a movies guy as well. I'm in the same exact boat. I can't focus when I'm reading a book. Like there's too much detail with it, and I know some people like that there's so much detail. But the thing with me is like I go back and I think about like Game of Thrones, right? That
Hmm.
is all made up names, made up characters, made up towns, made up everything. Like
Exactly.
me personally, I'm not going to read a bunch of words that look like they were mashed together on a keyboard and be like, "Oh, this is the correct way you say his name," and picture this town, picture this, like picture whatever. I need to physically see it, and
Yeah.
that's where movies come in or TV shows, right? So for me, I also am in agreement. It is movies for me, not books. Um, Even like comic books. Like I
Yeah.
read not all of it, but I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh no, you can see my Game of Thrones poster. I have a Walking Dead poster right next to me as well. Those weren't bad because it's basically all pictures. I'm making it sound like I'm like 10 years old and I need to have pictures in my books. I promise I don't. But the comic books were okay because like you can kind of picture what's going on, right? They're not any action
Yeah.
scenes. Nothing's really physically moving or happening, but you get an idea of like what scene the author is trying to paint, right?
Yeah.
And for me, like for some of those like fantasy worlds, it's a little too hard for me to paint that scene myself in my head.
Exactly. Like when I was reading Game of Thrones, it was so much easier already watching the show and imagining it while I'm reading it.
Right. And so
Like it was so good.
this kind of happened with me, and it's not fantasy at all, but The Wolf of Wall Street. I've seen that movie
Mm.
a bunch of times, and I was like, you know what? At the beginning of quarantine, I was bored. I know what to do. I was like, I'm gonna buy the book. So I bought the book. Never finished it, by the way. It's a great book though, but what helped me reading that book was I was able to go through it much faster because a lot of it from at least where I was in the book like followed the movie perfectly. So like in the beginning of the book, he's talking about when he is flying his helicopter home, when he's all drunk and he tries to land it and he like hits really hard and like basically like almost crashes the helicopter. So I'm reading this and I'm like I feel like I can picture what he's doing, but now that I saw the movie, like I picture that scene. It's literally the opening scene of the movie, but like I picture that perfectly now, and I'm like, okay, like I probably would have imagined it a little bit differently. Like when he
Yeah.
says I almost crashed, to me, I probably would have been like, he was close to hitting the house. He might have hit the house. No, like he just landed it really hard and it like kind of rocked. So like I don't know
Yeah.
if it's just like my imagination's not that great. But yeah, so like even that right there was just easier for me to pick up the book and start reading it. Eventually I got off of my hey, let's read during quarantine and I'll just play video games instead. But I did start a book during quarantine. But yeah, no, movies for sure for me.
Yeah, like I I just bought the Harry Potter Illustrated collection,
Okay.
which is the first three books that are all not all everything is illustrated. There's
Right.
just like a few illustrations throughout the book, and I think it would like really help if like I never saw the movie to like see Harry's face,
Yeah.
see some scenes of what's happening. That I think that would really have helped me get into the book. I haven't finished it. I bought it before the pandemic started.
Oh, so it's been a while.
So,
Okay, it's been a
yeah,
while.
yeah. I haven't got through the first book yet,
Well,
but it's great.
at least you have the pictures now to help.
It-
um,
It's also like really interesting seeing like what the author imagined, because this is
Yeah.
just like straight from her and what the movies did. Like
Yeah,
it's really interesting
that's true.
seeing how Harry looks, all the characters, and what the castle looks like. It's so cool.
yeah, I would like to see how they picture them because I think most people probably don't know. I never watched the Harry Potter movies until like recently. Like I'm talking like
Yeah.
2 months ago, and I finished all of them, and I love the series. Like it's amazing. I don't know why I waited so long to watch it, and I know we're getting off on a tangent here, and by we I mean me because
Yeah.
I always get off on tangents. So I loved it, absolutely loved it, and I would love to see what J.K. Rowling thought and pictured in her mind for these illustrations. I don't know if she's the one that actually did the illustrations, if it was someone else,
No, she had somebody else do them.
but like it was directly
she
from her,
worked
like what she
heavily-
wanted it
yeah.
to look like. And that's kind of like what happened with me watching The Walking Dead and then to reading the comics. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm picturing Rick, who's like the main character, as Andrew Lincoln, and then I'm reading the comics and he looks nothing like Andrew Lincoln does, nothing like Rick at all in the TV shows, and I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is. But like it's cool seeing how Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead, like pictured his original characters to look like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the TV show did a great adaptation, right? Like I mean it's good, but like in terms of like what they look like, it's just nothing alike. So
Yeah, Andrew did a really good job with The Walking Dead.
he's an amazing actor, or he is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for the questions of the internet, which name TBD. We're still figuring it out here. Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about, Zoo?
No, I think I'm pretty good. How about you, bud?
I'm good. I would like to say I'm happy that your power didn't go out. Hopefully this hurricane is not crushing you guys as bad as you guys thought it might.
Yeah, I haven't heard the rain in a bit.
That's good. It's been raining up here literally all day since I woke up at 8 a.m. It has not stopped. It's now 8 o'clock. It's been a day of rain, which sucks. But if you have nothing else, that's all I have. I think we can go ahead and end it.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cool. All right. Well, to everybody out there who was watching, thank you very much. As always, I will be ending the stream just so we can cut this VOD off and I can download it, and then we'll be coming right back. We're going to be playing some game called Unfortunate Spaceman. Apparently it's, I don't know, Among Us with guns. So we'll find out. First time playing it. Haven't played it yet. So again, I will be back in like 2 minutes. So just stick in the stream. We're going to be playing that game. Zutu, as always, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you stopping in. Hey, stay safe out there.
Always. Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll try.
Thank you guys very much. Everyone, have a good night. Peace out.
Bye, guys.